Hi everybody, welcome back. So this time in Intro to Engineering, we're going to be going over and, or, and not functions. These are ways you can add criteria together in if statements, so you don't have to write a bunch of if statements or a bunch of nested if statements. You can just write one complex criteria. Now the way they work is fairly simple. An and one looks at all the criteria and it says if every single one of them is true, all of them are true, then I'll print out true, I'll say it passed. Because and they have to do this. You have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to do that. Well, you have to do it all. You have to be able to pass it all. So for and to print out true, everything has to be true. Okay, so let's look at it. We've got this kind of crazy looking example here. This is a little bit more complex, but this is getting closer to real life. I try to give you good examples when I can. So we're going to use the and function here. So you're a material engineer and you have to help your company quickly choose the correct material for the job. And so you're going to just build a simple spreadsheet that'll check whether a part has the necessary criteria. So what you can see right here is you have these things. What's the max beta? It's the thermal expansion coefficient. What's the minimum specific heat? And what is the max thermal conductivity? So I've got all these guys right here. And as you can see that they either failed or passed based on these criteria. This actually does update automatically. So if you want to mess around with the numbers, you can. Just be careful because I'm not sure if this will update automatically. Okay, so I want to figure out an equation that says, did they pass both criteria? I mean, yes, I can look at this pass, that one worked, failed, 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 failed. I can go down and do it myself. It would be nicer if I didn't have to do that little mental math. Let's avoid it. So here we go. We're going to use the and function. So equals if, we still start with an if statement. You can use and, or, and not outside of if statements. It just doesn't make much sense. So if and, that's kind of weird that you put the and beforehand, but it's just how it works. It's a function. So and I give it a criteria. So I'm going to say, is this equal to pass? And is this equal to pass? Okay, so is the first one passed? Is the second one passed? If they both pass, then it passes. And if one of them fails or both of them fails, then it fails. Okay, close it out, and I'm good to go. I can drag it down. Fantastic. And I see that only 2 of them actually passed both criteria. Okay, but let's look at this one more time. It's a little bit harder to see, but here is the criteria. This section right here, that is the criteria. And in this case, I said that it has 2 criteria because I put it inside of an and function. So both of those have to be true for it to push out true. If either one of these fails, then it goes to the fail right here. It goes to the false section. If both of these are true, it goes to the true section. So that's great. That wasn't too terribly difficult. And I can put as many as I want in there. I can have like 50 and functions in there. It can be absolutely enormous. But that's for another time. Okay, so I'm going to delete this because I'm being smart about it this time and not forgetting. And we'll keep on going. Okay, now this OR function. What is this OR function? Well, the OR function prints out true if any of the criteria are true. It's like, well, the example kind of says it all. Actually, this is the true, well, not quite the true numbers, but this is the true process at Guilford Tech. If you want to get into Calculus 1 from the start, there's various criteria you have to meet. One is you can have a certain score on your SAT in the math section. 2, you can have a good AP Calculus score. Or 3, you can place high enough on Accuplacer, which is a test you can take at Guilford Tech. If any of these are true, you get into Calc 1, at least if you want to. If all of them are false, then you don't. You have to take the pre-calc classes. But if any of them are true, it works. So we're going to run through this one quick, and then I'm going to cut before we go to this next function. Okay, so this time I want to say, do these pass the criteria? So the criteria was a 1430 on the SAT score, a 3 or more on the AP Calculus exam, or, keyword there, or, at least a 70 on the Accuplacer exam. Okay, so equals if, and then I start the or function because I've got this very complex criteria. Don't forget your parentheses. And so it says logical 1. Well, that's going to be, is this right here more than 1,430? Okay. Logical 2 will be, is this more than or equal to 3? And finally, is this more than or equal to 70? Okay, so that's my criteria. I closed out the or statement, so now I'm out of it. And now I have to type, what do you do if it's true? Well, if they did pass one of these criteria, then they get into Calculus 1. So I type ready. And if they didn't pass any of the criteria, there's just no way, then they're not ready. They go into pre-calc. Okay, hit enter. It says ready. Fantastic. And I can drag it down and hopefully it works for the rest. Let's see if I did it right. Good all around. Woo! Now, interestingly enough, we could have also done this by saying, using an AND function and saying, do they fail any of the criteria? Do they fail any of the criteria? That would have worked as well. There's always multiple ways of writing these if statements. Always multiple ways you can check it. So don't worry if you get a different solution than I do. If you write yours slightly differently, but it works, who cares? Just do it your way. Okay, with that, I'll see you next time before we jump into the not function. Bye-bye.